All right, in this video, we are starting to talk about social development. So, social development kind of has two aspects. The first part, we're going to talk about attachment. So attachment is the bond with a caregiver, the bond that forms with a caregiver really early on, as early as 6 months. And it could be when we said, and I said caregiver because it could be mom, it could be dad, it could be a particular person at a daycare. But attachment is going to form with that individual over time, and it can have a long-term effect on the socialization that individual has later on in life. And so the better attachment they have with their parent, for example, as an infant or a toddler, is going to impact their kinds of friendships that they form, even in grade school or high school, or even as an adult, even in romantic relationships. What kind of a relationship did you have with your parent growing up? Okay. Interesting things is that what would you guess? Would most children develop an attachment with their mother or their father? Most oftentimes with their mother. The interesting thing is that in some cases that may not be the case. So if you think about your own experience, are you more, attached to your mother or your father? In my case, I had three children. My older two children definitely formed an attachment to me. They would constantly want me to go and help them if they're having problems. If they got hurt, they would come to me, and I'm the one that consoled them. At night when it's time for bed, and who do you want to read you a story? Mommy. What about Daddy? I don't want Daddy. And then, I would tell them, I'm like, you're hurt Daddy's feelings. What about Daddy? Nope, don't want Daddy. Funny thing is that the my last child, my youngest, he's 2 now. Um, he has I spent 2 years at home with him. 1 year in particular, it was just him and I. The first year of his life, it was his older brother and him. But the second year, it was just him and I, and we did everything together. But you know who he's attached to? Daddy. All about Daddy. He gets excited about Daddy. He goes, runs over. Daddy gets excited. He wants to go and tell Daddy everything. At nighttime, who do you want to read you a story? Daddy. Can I read you a story? No. Well, how about I help get you ready? No. He will literally scream and cry if I try and help him. Okay, but attachment will form with anybody. Now, I'm not saying that he's not attached to me at all. If it's a choice between me and a stranger, he'll pick me. But if it's a choice between me and my husband, he will pick my husband. Now, this is a case that has been studied a lot by a psychologist. Oops, sorry. Oh, I wanted. Mary Ainsworth. Mary Ainsworth, she was in your book. She did what they call the strange situation. And the strange situation is an experiment where they studied attachment. So I do have a video to show you the strange situation.
But can the essential elements of home life be translated into a standard laboratory setting for controlled scientific study? After conducting extensive observations of parents and children at home, a student of Bowlby's, Mary Ainsworth, devised such a procedure, called the strange situation, which places the child under some stress. It has become the most widely used, standardized way to assess the quality of a child's attachment to their caregiver. Here the researchers are recording how 14-month-old Lisa responds in this attractive but unfamiliar setting. How will she react to a stranger? What will happen when her mother leaves the room? And when she returns? It's Lisa's behavior when her mother returns, what psychologists call the reunion, that they are particularly interested in.
Most importantly is to look for the type of balance that a child strikes between an attachment need and, on the other hand, to explore the play material.
Once Lisa has settled down to play, a stranger enters the room and sits in the chair reading a magazine.
Lisa, where's the bow? Where's the bow?
After a couple of minutes, the stranger attempts to interact with Lisa. Soon after, Lisbeth gets a cue to leave the room. The stranger tries to comfort Lisa, but in vain. Lisbeth comes back into the room, and the camera records how Lisa reacts. Now the first part of the procedure is over, and Lisbeth settles Lisa down again. The stranger leaves them alone together. And soon after, Lisbeth goes too. Lisa is on her own. Her distress is plain to see. Once again, the efforts of the stranger to console Lisa are to no avail. But Lisbeth manages to calm her almost at once, and shortly afterwards the observation ends. Lisa showed outward signs of what's called secure.
Okay, so the point of the video was that it was a real life experiment done by Mary Ainsworth, the idea of introducing a stranger into the situation and how a child reacts. Now, the question is, okay, here's what I have or am going to have you discuss in your groups. Do you think that baby's reaction was normal? And I put in quotations normal because, that's depending upon what you think is normal. So was it normal? What do you think the mother has done in the past to cause this reaction? Why did the baby react that way? What do you think an abnormal reaction would be for the baby in this kind of scenario? What would the mother have done in the past to cause this? How do you think types of attachment early on affects children's relationships as they get older? And how can you encourage more parents to develop secure attachments with their own children? The last question, being a very positive person, I want to believe that most parents want to develop a secure attachment with their children. Some of them just don't know how. So what we're going to talk about in class is we're going to talk about these things in your group, but I wanted to show them along with the video that I just showed. So that's it for attachment. Let me know if you have any questions.